of Loving Without Boundaries, and I am here with a member of our team, the amazing Coach B, and we are delighted to be here with you, coming from various social media channels. And if you are looking for community and you're not currently a part of our community, you can find us on Facebook at Loving Without Boundaries, Healthy Open Relationships and Lifestyle Freedom. You can also find our work on my website, Loving Without Boundaries, where you can also find our podcast of the same name and my book, Jealousy Survival Guide, How to Feel Safe, Happy, and Secure in an Open Relationship. So we offer lots of different resources in addition to these lives that we do across different social media channels. So today's topic is breaking the shame cycle. We see shame a lot in the work that we do in serving those who are coloring outside of the lines of heteronormative monogamy, as well as in the LGBTQ plus community. And it is our honor and privilege to be able to serve this community. So with that, I'm going to let B start us off, and I appreciate you bringing this topic up, B.
Thank you, Kitty. And I would further like to deepen normalizing the experience of shame, because it's what I've seen in my personal and professional experiences. This is one of the most frequent, most widespread core human experience. It's not only something that appears across all areas of our lives, but as Kitty, you pointed out, it's a very frequent experience, unfortunately, in consensual non-monogamy as well. And I'm deeply familiar with the shame experience, with the background noise, the constant background noise, the whispers, the thoughts that I'm not enough, something is wrong with me, and also with the unexpected eruptions, because these are the two main forms that shame is present in our lives, with this negative thinking, thought processes that we don't seem to break away, the comparison, something is deeply flawed, what I bring to the relationship is just not enough, I'm unlovable. And sometimes it can just erupt in the most unexpected situations that maybe is gonna really surprise us, even that what just happened. And unfortunately, what is painful in shame, in addition to the feeling, the physical sensation itself, is that over time it keeps eroding the trust in ourselves, our self-worth, how we value ourselves, and it has us hiding who we are, hiding our needs, our most cherished desires, our worldviews, what we would like to say and express. And specifically in consensual non-monogamy, a few areas that shame is like closely tied to our body image, for example, or our non-conformity to societal gender roles. For example, I myself identify as gender fluid, so to me, like not being able to conform the traditional expected how women should be, how women should show up in a relationship, has definitely been a source of shame. Or it can be the relationship preferences that we choose in consensual non-monogamy that induce and fuel shame, or it can show up around our sexual preferences and maybe the resources that we bring to our relationships, the logistical resources, the time availability, the emotional fluency that we bring, the communication skills, the finances as well. And it's so sad that we keep recognizing these as limitations, when in fact I want to give you a really powerful reframe. Knowing these type of limits, like where we end, where are we comfortable showing up, if we're aware of this and we can communicate this with authenticity to other people, we're giving them a gift, because they can know us, they know what to expect in our relationship with us, and they can say an enthusiastic yes in consenting to a relationship with us. So knowing what we perceive our limits, often tied to shame, is actually a gift in disguise. And once communicated, we can start building authentic relationships. And with that, I would like to hand the mic over to you, Kitty.
Thank you, B. It's such an important and really delicate topic, and I'm so delighted that that you wanted to bring this up here, B, because I know that a lot of people may be dealing with shame. Sometimes they're highly aware of it, almost on a daily basis. They know they're going into like a shame spiral. And sometimes folks may not even realize that it's shame that they're dealing with. They just don't feel good. They don't feel good about themselves. They just have a sense of a lack of self love, perhaps. And as you said, it can erode our sense of self worth. It can feed into not feeling enough in relationships. And all of this can definitely have a spotlight shown on it when we are practicing some form of consensual non-monogamy. And a lot of times that may mean healing from trauma from the past. If there's been past infidelity, whether you were the perpetrator or you were the one that got cheated on, there can be a lot of shame around that as well, a lot of guilt that can show up. And I love the work of Brene Brown, and Brene Brown literally studies shame. It's an unusual thing to study, and I honor her courage in doing that. But it's really interesting just to know that that shame thrives in secrecy. You know, it thrives when we're not talking about it, when we're kind of hiding our skeletons in the closet. And I love the way Brene Brown talks about it too. That if we have the thought, "I did something bad," that can create a sense of guilt. And it's okay to feel guilt just for a minute or two, just to realize, hey, I could have done a better job on, in this situation. And then we can take action to rectify it, such as make an apology, make amends, repair what happened, say how we're going to do better the next time. But with shame, that's when we say, I am bad. I am a bad person. And what I think is interesting about shame is we're not born naturally feeling shame. We're naked, beautiful babies just kind of running around, little cherubs, and we're really taught to feel shame as we get older, as our brains start forming. And it's something to note that even though we are taught to feel shame, we can also learn how to let go of shame and realize how corrosive it is, and notice how it can block us being able to be the most vulnerable, best version of ourselves in our relationships. And with that, I'll give the mic back over to you, B.
Thanks, Kerry. I further want to build on an important point that you highlighted, like how shame can block curiosity when it comes to repair. Like we don't even go there to examining things because we're so afraid that it's just going to prove that we are bad. So we do everything to avoid like feeling bad. So with that block curiosity, it's really difficult to do any type of fulfilling repair in a relationship. The other side of shame where it blocks vulnerability is expressing our beautiful truth, expressing our desires. So unfortunately, if we're not interrupting our shame cycle, what can happen is we might end up with a mutual dance of performative behaviors. So we start guessing and assuming what the other person wants, what I think they want, or try to cut my wings in accordance to what someone says they want from me. So it's all going to be about performance, performing what I'm supposed to do instead of showing up from who I am. And there's an immense pain in that, because as we talked about it before, we keep hiding parts of ourselves, and that vulnerability is so very important for authentic and beautiful connection, in addition to, of course, it's a foundational piece to doing repair as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for bringing that up too. And I'll keep stacking on what you said too, that also this can overlap when we are doing our boundary work. That's something that we work a lot with our clients on, is helping them understand the difference between rules where we're attempting to control the other person if we're feeling uncomfortable. Sometimes that uncomfortability could be our own internal shame. And the difference between healthy boundary setting, which are based on our most cherished values, and then how to build agreements. And we may have poor boundaries that show up in our relationships, which can lead to people pleasing if we have porous boundaries and we have never really been taught how to have healthy boundaries. And that's something that we work a lot with our clients on. And it can also show up when we're attempting to get our needs met, like the need for certainty can show up in constructive ways or not very constructive, like destructive ways, when we're attempting to control other people, like the desire to control the outcome or whether other people's thought process or feelings or behavior, which of course we have no control over. So it's really important to know that that shame can show up in those areas as well, and there are ways to move forward. And we'll talk a little bit about that, just in terms of one of the things that we work with our clients on is learning how to notice when there is a pattern in your life. And a pattern can be that shame spiral we've been talking about, when you start to notice that you're kind of starting to spiral down. And shame is one of the most corrosive emotions that we can feel. And we can learn to have pattern interrupts that are really healthy, to be able to recognize that pattern and then interrupt it. We can interrupt it with empowering questions. We can interrupt it by using our body as a tool, whether that's going out for a walk in nature, or dancing to a song that we find very inspiring, that can kind of pull us into more positive, hopeful ways of thinking, into optimism, and just lots of different empowering strategies that we can use to get us out of that shame spiral. It can also be reaching out to a friend who we know really loves us and has our back, so that, again, if we take that shame out of the closet, so to speak, and take it out of the darkness and look at it and talk about it. So whether we're talking about it with a friend, with a professional, with a mentor, with a coach, so with somebody that you trust, you take away some of the power that shame can have over us if we kind of have it in secret. So I'll give the mic back over to you, B, to continue to build on that.
So beautiful distinctions, Kiri, and I especially love that you mentioned the healing power of our connections and also our larger community. It's so important to look out for communities as well who are supportive of who we are, because one of the origin stories of shame, or the roots, is it happens relationally. It's like a type of relational wounding. So something that happens relationally also can heal a lot relationally. So some things, when we're working through our shame and interrupt that cycle and transition it into something more empowering that we want to embrace. Some is, yes, our individual internal work, noticing our beliefs, turning them around, using really effective emotional regulation and release practices or communication skills. And it's also important that we allow other people to help us heal, to hold us, to confirm that, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly normal, and your love for who you are. So I really love that you highlighted that aspect of breaking the shame cycle, Kiri, as well.
Thank you, B. Yeah, and we really are deeply care about this community we've built here over years at our Loving Without Boundaries community. So again, if you are seeking community online on Facebook, we have literally almost 16,000 people in our private Facebook group. And just to make sure you understand, when you join, no one can see that you're in there. No one can see what we talk about. If that helps you release any shame about whatever you're navigating, you can make anonymous posts there, if you even want some further privacy. But that's another way to kind of take the shame away, take shame off the table, so that you can really have that sense of a warm hug, having that healing power of community. So if anything that we're saying here resonates with you, if you are wanting to work with a professional, with a mentor, with coaches that really care about you and your journey of stepping into your best self, and learning how to figure out where are you now and where do you want to go, and learn how to get the skills and the support and the guidance to set those goals and start marching towards those goals, you can start by having a conversation with me. So I just put a link up on the screen. It's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. That's for a free breakthrough session where we're simply just going to have an honest conversation to see where you're at, and let me see what your situation is. Do you have the characteristics to succeed? And are we a fit to work together? Can I help you given your situation lined up with my expertise and our team's expertise? And if so, we can talk about what that looks like. If we're not a fit, or it's not the right time, you have my word that I will let you know that, and I will do my best to steer you in the best direction for you, so that you get a lot of value and clarity from our time together. So with that, B, is there anything you'd like to follow up and end our conversation here with?
Yes, one thing that I want to briefly touch on is some of the beautiful things that thrive once we dropped a lot of the weight that shame represented throughout our life. One is authentic self-expression. There's a wondrous beauty in that. Also, once we're more living from our truth, what feels like most aligned, we start living from our values versus our fears. We can start enjoying more fulfilling dynamics and more aligned choices with who we feel we are. So we can start dropping the hypervigilance that I have to perform, I have to be perfect, I have to look different, behave different, that's different, and we can just be ourselves. And that's a beautiful sense of relief, a sense of freedom, appreciation of life, self-appreciation, and the sense of abundance that can show up in addition to a grounded self-trust that I can start and I can continue to trust my choices, my relationship choices, my choices of partners, my choices of communication, my skills, and my own values. So these are a few gifts that we can find once we move beyond the shame cycle. And I also brought some questions.
Sure.
So briefly, so what is your heart's desire instead of shame? What is it that you would love to feel instead of shame? What is that for you? Is it joy? Is it relief? Maybe you want to start out with neutrality. What is that experience that you would like to experience instead of shame? Question number 2, if you imagine what lifting shame could bring into your life, what would be different? What could be available to you if you could just drop it even for a day in your imagination? What would be different? This can help you get inspired and get connected to a goal and your why to keep doing the breaking the shame cycle when it gets difficult, because when the why is strong, the bumpy roads get a little bit easier there and easier to navigate. And question number 3, what needs to happen to get that experience, for you to have that experience that you want to have instead of shame? So if you say that I want to feel neutral or I want to experience joy, what needs to happen? What do you need to notice, appreciate, believe, practice, lean into, possibly heal, work through, or what type of skills you might need to build in order to have that particular experience?
Beautiful, beautiful questions, B. Thank you for the heart and the soul that you bring to all of this work. Your heart is so big, and it's beautiful to see the passion and just the caring nature that you bring to this community. And I really honor that, B. So with that, we will sign off here and just say again, if you are looking to find a professional to work with, coaches who care, who specialize in helping you live your most authentic life, free from shame and guilt, free from jealousy and insecurity, and the pain of ongoing or past infidelity in the open relationship and sex positive space, so that you feel unstoppable and fall back in love with yourself. If you're looking to find professionals who are interested in helping you with that, feel free to go to that link, lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply, if you'd like to book that free breakthrough session. Or you can also check out some of our free resources, or also my book, Jealousy Survival Guide. So with that, thank you, B, for your time and attention that you bring to this beautiful community. And we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.